Welcome to the LV Home Experts Radio Show. This is where we talk about real estate and financing every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on today's topic, we got a lot of things that we are going to be covering today. So what we're going to be covering is Henderson had the highest sale for 2021. And also, we're going to be talking about a new development that's taking place, 234-unit townhome in North Las Vegas. And also, we are going to be talking about downtown Las Vegas, how downtown Las Vegas is popping right now. Okay, the historic downtown. We're going to be talking about the water shortage, right? And also, we're going to be talking about the rental sector as well. And we're going to cover financing with my man, Dan French with Guarantee Rate. What's up, bud? How's everything going?
Good, man. What's happening?
Yeah, you're live now.
Okay. I was just like, am I live? I thought you were still going to go with the big intro.
That was.
I was like getting the drum roll ready.
There you go. So, how have you been, Dan?
Good, man. I've been doing really well. Very happy to be a part of the show. Very happy to be a part of life right now, and everything's good.
Yeah, you're looking fresh.
Trying to feel good, man. I'm trying to be positive with everything. Everything's looking good.
That's good. That's good. So today we have a special guest in studio today. He's the Bitcoin King, a.k.a. He's
certified.
Brett Jennings with the Krulsawat group at Simply Vegas. What's going on, Brett?
Out there trying to make the deals happen, man. You know how it goes.
I know.
Trying to maneuver through this market.
Well, you did get a escrow in recently, didn't you?
I had to put a little extra effort on that one.
Yeah, you did. You actually had to wait on that one, right?
You wait, and they were opening up at 10 a.m. for the doors, and it was first come, first serve, so I got there at 6:45 a.m.
Sometimes you actually have to do that. You don't have a choice.
I'm not going to lose. You know what I mean?
Why would you?
Like, I've been waiting for that. Working with that buyer for well over a year.
Yeah.
And the lot he picked out a while ago, but you got to take when they become available. And I wasn't going to put all that work to lose it. So
I'm surprised that the buyer hasn't lost motivation at that point. I mean, a year.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, I stay in contact with the people that are my clients.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, you can do that all you want, but after a year, a lot of people kind of fade out or get tired of the process, but they really wanted to be here from California, and now they're going to be.
You know what that means, right? That's great lead follow-up right there.
Yeah. Thanks. Cash, too. I have my worth once in a while.
There you go. So I want to get into the Las Vegas housing market. But first, I want to cover downtown Las Vegas, zip code 89101. Are you guys familiar with the historic downtown?
Very much so. Okay. Beverly Green.
There you go. So we have McNeil Estates. I do have some properties down there. That's where I actually started my first investment deal.
Really?
McFair Estates, I'm sorry. Then you also have the McNeil Estates. So, back in the early 40s, right, we had Fremont Street, obviously. Mm-hmm. That was kind of like our strip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all the people that worked there, they built houses over there, right? And there were small little cottage homes, and they were really nice. And obviously, Las Vegas grew pretty big. At this point, a lot of people were buying, away from Fremont Street, because we know Fremont Street, it was a nice place at one point, and it just kind of went downhill.
Yeah.
Because of every other community that populated out here. And, during the crash of 2008, you could literally buy a home out there for about $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when I used to drive those neighborhoods just to look, right? Mm-hmm. And this is when I just got into real estate, but I didn't have any money at that time. So I was just looking around, and I'm like, $20,000, $30,000 for this thing? I'm like, I wouldn't purchase here. This place is kind of like sketchy, right?
Yeah.
And, I would say fast forward maybe about 4 or 5 years later, I met an agent in my office, which is my mentor today, right? When I met him, he owned, I think, probably like 13 properties. He literally moved down there, bought a bunch of properties for $20,000, $30,000, rehabbed it, And today, now it's worth about $350,000.
Each home?
Yeah, each home.
Wow.
Like that's how.
I saw the house back there in 2011, 2010, a foreclosure for $23,000.
Oh my gosh.
It would take something significant to go back to those levels. I mean,
I wish it would though.
Well, I think everybody's waiting, but it's not.
Look at you. You know, people are lose
Everybody's
their
wanting it,
home
but it's not happening.
Is that mean? I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I do want the market to crash.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just so high.
here's how I look at it.
Yeah.
As a realtor and a lender too, you make more money now because the prices of homes are higher, but you're not going to make the same money as if homes were at those values before. It would take a lot more work and a lot more transactions to close to get the same money you have today. So it's got to be that perfect storm where something comes in that we can't see.
In 2008, I remember with Dan, you know, we were getting our career started at this time. We were doing $60,000, $80,000 deals. I was literally cold calling, following up, beating up the buyers, almost begging buyers to buy an $80,000 home.
Right.
I mean, I would only make like $2,400.
Yep, I remember that
then
too.
with the fees and the commissions that you got to pay. At that time period, it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to be a real estate agent.
Yeah.
But now that I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I grinded like that.
Dude,
However,
I know.
Do you ever look back?
if I go back, if I got to, I got to.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is if you know how to go from nothing to something once, you can do you figure out the mix.
It's
almost
100%. It's almost like this too, though. You missed an opportunity to a point. Like you probably had the ability to buy a home, but you missed that opportunity where you might have been able to buy 4 or 5 homes at that time, potentially, right? And so
I wasn't in a position.
Well, neither was I.
I'll
be honest with you, I wasn't. I was just getting started.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Yeah,
but you know, with a lot of
I was just trying to make a living.
Right.
Me too, man. Same thing as you. I was just happy that I was a real estate agent. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm making. You know, you're making $500 a deal after I split with.
Yeah, I was watching $1 Million Listing. I had the suit and tie selling $80,000. I didn't care. I'm like, dude, I'm in the business.
I used to sit down on Charleston, and right on the east side, and do open houses all day long because these investors would come in and buy 4 or 5 homes that were 50, 60,000.
Even if you bought 2 homes, it would set you yourself up for today.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. You could either rent it out or if you wanted to sell. But I mean, for me, it's like you kind of struck gold a little bit. You got a few of them. You got what, 2 or 3 of them?
Yeah, I got the tail end of it, which
Still
is horrible.
got it though.
When did you buy your first one? What year?
I think it was like 2013.
Okay, so you still, that's still relatively young.
Exactly. I caught the tail end of it.
Yeah.
And it was a learning process for me. And I did hurt myself too as well because there were like 5 more properties that I could have bought, but I didn't even pull the trigger because I was scared.
Yeah.
And I lost those opportunities. And I wish I would have bought those properties today because
well, the hindsight on that's 20.
Yeah, I know,
I you know, man, at the time, same thing. Like I remember showing people homes in Mountain's Edge that were $75 a square foot. And at the time, these homes are only 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
2,500 square foot gated community in Mountain's Edge, $75 a square foot. And people were like, oh, bank wants too much on this.
That's crazy. So
that's human nature.
A 5-bedroom home, 3 bathrooms that was built in 1976 was actually listed for $670,000. Isn't that amazing?
In that zip code you were talking about?
Yes. That is insane. But
at that price point, huh?
Is it remodeled?
Yes, it's remodeled. However, this is how they are remodeling these homes. They're going back and they're keeping it dated, which is, I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Especially a home at that age or that time period, right? Because that home already has its style. You can't really make those type of homes modern, but you can have updated finishings, right?
Yeah.
But keep it the same structural style.
That's why people want those.
Yeah.
Because of that. That's the only style.
Especially McNeil Estates. McNeil Estates was a location where you had judges and attorneys that lived in these areas. And these lots were like half acre, acre lots. And today, you drive down this place, everything looks nice. It's unbelievable how they take care of it. And there's no HOAs too as well.
I prefer an older home. With
do you
more
really?
land. I really do. Like if I was somebody out there going to go buy my dream home, which I'm not in a position to do that quite yet, but if I was out there, I would want a house, 1 story, has land, And I would want it to be where it maybe has a casita in the back.
Yeah.
Just like, but an older style home where it's got that layout. It's a different layout. It's not like cookie cutter, everybody's right next to each other. I can't deal with that, man.
I think the best way to describe this type of neighborhood that we're talking about today, okay? Have you ever seen that show, The Wonder Years?
Yep.
That's how it feels to me.
Kevin Arnold.
Yeah.
No, I think Winnie Cooper.
Ooh, Cooper. Dude, she was banging when I was a
at the
kid.
time,
I
right?
loved that girl.
That was like all of our crushes.
Now, here's just a quick tip. If you happen to purchase a property down there that was built around the early 40s, understand that the sewage line was actually built with cast iron plumbing, right? And also clay too as well.
Yeah.
So think about this. Fast forward it to now, you got to think about, is this thing corroded? How do I know this? Is because one of my first deals that I bought, right? Mm-hmm. I sent a camera down there, and I realized it was all collapsed. I literally had to cut the concrete floor to rerun the sewage line.
What is that? What does that year break off where you start to see issues like that?
Well, I'm not a home inspector, but homes that were about like 20 years, like 2000 and up, you should be fine.
Right.
Anything below that, then you should kind of be worried because it depending on the location. Because you got to understand, when it comes to building code and compliances, that changes on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah.
So, what's good today may not be good tomorrow.
Plus, I think previous, and you can correct me, but I don't know, 2000 before, high-tech plumbing,
Yeah,
Canada, cheap plumbing, that was an issue too, right?
that is correct. Okay.
Same with, was it Chinese drywall? Remember they had issues with that?
Mm-hmm. Now, another topic I want to get into, and I think this is very fascinating. Okay. Henderson home breaks 2021 record with a $14,690,000 price tag in Askaya. Isn't that amazing?
Wow. That's crazy.
Now, for us, this is a lot of money.
That is.
You took this price down to California and Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That ain't nothing.
Yeah.
What's the mortgage on that, you think?
I'm going to say probably about $180,000 a month.
They're probably paying cash for that, aren't they?
That's what I probably figured.
That's why I said they never get a mortgage on something.
Yeah, I was like, why would you, if it's even close to being close to your budget, why would you?
The mortgages is more than most people make in a year.
They'd probably make that in a month, dude. I mean.
Now, Brett, you had a subject on the water shortage.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that.
So, it's been in the news, but a lot of people haven't spoke about it, which is kind of surprising to me, which is the water level at Lake Mead.
Yeah.
And so they're saying how everything is depleted so much that by the end of the summer, they might be declaring a water emergency.
Wow. Didn't California have one of those too as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the thing about it is the way that our contract is set up is 70% of our water or something like that goes to California.
Wow. We should block that off.
Well, yeah, so that could easily be changed. So, like, they're worried about running out of water. That's a contract changing.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from the Colorado River.
Yeah.
And the problem is there's no snow up there. And then we're going through a season where there's no rain and there's a drought for California.
So they're talking about draining Lake Powell.
Right.
Into Mead. Because Lake Mead's the world's largest reservoir.
So I know from the last time I was out there, all right, I mean, you can definitely see that water line. And it's pretty high. So from above, it doesn't look, that low. But when you go down to sea level or lake level, let's just call it lake level, it's pretty high. So I wonder, what is the, how high is it right now from the lake level? Do you know?
No, but I know it's the lowest percentage I think it's ever been.
Yeah.
And they had to shut down some of the generators over there at the dam.
Oh, wow.
So it's not in a good place right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they're talking about shutting down generators.
Here's what I can tell you: we go to the lake, and when you go out to the lake, we go down and we dock the boat.
Yeah.
And there's probably a good 100 yards from where you dock the boat to now where you're gonna potentially dock the boat.
No kidding.
That's how fast it's going, and this is within a year. So
100 yards in.
You have to understand. Last year, I'm looking at this thing going, this doesn't look good, and then we go back out again, and I'm like, this really doesn't look good. And so they're shutting down parts of where you actually used to dock or used to be able to go and actually be in the water.
Yeah.
So
you go out there all the time, right, Dan?
all the time.
With the pontoon?
With the pontoon boat and the family, and my uncle's got one too, and we hang out, man.
But here's the question: is what's going to realistically happen? I mean, I'm a firm believer that humans, when we're stuck in certain situations, we always produce. Yeah. But what's I mean, because we're growing faster than ever.
Well, there's probably going to be restrictions, and there's probably going to be fines, and there's going to be things coming out with water and how much you can use. Mm-hmm. Also, they're going to have to tap into something else, I think, at some point.
That's my whole thing.
That's what they're probably doing right now, is finding out where else. Because this is not going to be replenished or replaced.
I guess I don't understand how it works, because isn't there water underneath the whole earth? Why can't we just drill down?
Well, I mean,
I don't.
I'm sure there's got to be water.
There's a water table, man.
I think it's a little bit. You got to do you probably have to find out where it's at, and I
understand that,
but and then what is the cost to run it? You know what I mean? From wherever it's at, you got to probably find it too. So I'm just saying they should have been taking this in consideration 5 years ago.
Yeah.
If you look back, there was some news articles and stuff that's come out.
There's been signs of this for a while.
In trouble.
I moved here in 2009, and they're talking about it.
Yeah, and then you got more people coming here and living here and using the water too, right? You get more people here. So I don't know. I mean, it's not in a good state. And I'll tell you, moving out here, you're gonna have to look at that this could be a serious problem, not just here but California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think part of our problem as humans, especially us here in the U.S., we tend to waste more water than anything?
100%.
100%.
Because that's the way I feel. That
humans in general, let alone Americans.
Yeah.
Where we don't have appreciation for half the things because we've just.
So I'm watching this stuff, and I'm sitting here, and my son went and he turned the water on, and I'm sitting here watching TV, and normally I'll just be like, la, 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 whatever.
Yeah, turn it off.
All of a sudden, I was like, wait a second. I just watched this the other day.
Yeah.
I got up and I turned it off. I said, hey, can't be doing that. And it's because until you get to a point of crisis where we're at, then you don't make adjustments. And I think that's when you got to start thinking about that before it gets to that crisis position. So
agreed, man.
I'm just sitting here thinking about it.
For me, it's a common courtesy. It's like when I brush my teeth, right? I don't let the water run. No. I rinse my toothbrush, then brush my teeth, then turn back on the water.
Do you?
Yeah, because I don't like it to run. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm wasting water. I've always been like that.
I think everybody thinks everything's in abundance, but I'm the same way. If somebody throws trash out the side of the car, I can't stand that.
Would you go pick up the trash and follow up?
I would pick it up. But
then follow them where they're at and throw it in their car.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're always going to have those people. You know what I mean? But I just it's the same thing. It's like control what you can control.
Brett will whoop your butt.
Brett's going to be
farm boy.
Brett's going to be the trash patrol.
You know what?
Trash police.
I actually seen that the other day. I was actually driving up the road, and it was like a Cadillac or something like that.
Yeah.
And they threw out like a burger box with like some burger like on the ground.
I can't stand
That's just so rude, dude.
Dude, I looked at it and I was like, dude, that is like so low class, dude.
Yeah, that's that's exactly what it is.
I do one of these. It's like when I see that, and if I see somebody do it, I just do one of these. Just go. It's just kind of that
sad.
stare. You're just like.
Yeah.
There's no common courtesy, and I feel like the world today, people is just only so focused on themselves, and they don't care about other people. You know what 100%. I'm saying? It's like their own circle, and it is what it is.
You know what else I have a pet peeve about is when you go to like the store. I know they got the sweepers. Everybody knows it, but I can't stand when there's like trash when you're walking into the store. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's just everywhere. Like where it's like people just throw their trash everywhere. I don't know. I just can't stand that.
In the store?
Oh, outside, like in the parking lot.
Oh,
I can't stand that.
Where are you going? That
Smith's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, any Smith's.
I got to come to Summerlin. They don't have that.
They got the trash patrol out there. Brett's running the trash.
I'm just being snobby.
So off of Rancho and Vegas Drive, there's a plot of land right now that was actually owned by Siegfried and Roy. And Harmony Homes just picked this up. It's over there by that casino. You know, what's the name of that casino?
What?
Rancho Casino, Rancho Estates or something like that.
Rancho, where's that at?
Rancho, Vegas. You know, Rancho,
Santa Fe?
There you go, Santa Fe.
Okay, that's what it is.
No. It's more towards the Strip, not all the way up there, up west. It's right here, right next to that airport. You see that airport?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Well, anyway, they are building some townhomes here, 234 units. Okay. They expect to break ground next year and start the project. So hopefully the housing market is still good, and we're going to get into that for a second here.
Let me say this about that, and I don't want to, but
yeah,
a lot of people want bigger homes right now because they can work from home. Is townhomes even desirable at this time?
I mean, just to even get a house is desirable.
It's affordable.
But I mean, are people?
Exactly.
Is that what people start with, or is it their?
I mean, think about if you're younger.
Yeah, so
it's perfect for it.
Yeah, so the question is, what do you want? Do you want a bigger home with a higher payment, or a smaller home with a lower payment? For me, you know what I can afford, and you know where I live, right? I don't have that big home. I think I'm more comfortable with payment versus leveraging myself.
I will
out.
say though that you're kind of an exception to the rule.
That is true too.
Because
No,
yeah, most
I'm
people,
Asian.
Well,
you said it, not me. But I think you definitely live within your means is an understatement.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do a lot more, but you don't purposely.
I also think too.
I'll give you respect for that, man, because a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, it's
Start
just
balling
it's
out,
sustained
you know?
wealth too. Like if your occupation had sustained wealth and you have year over year, right? Then I think you have a different story. But I think if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you guys want to call live in studio today at 702-409-4495. You like that? That was perfect with the music, right?
Oh yeah.
Call live in the studio today at 702-409-4495. So these townhomes, they're going to start off at $200,000. Now, $200,000, that range is a pretty good range.
That's super cheap for a townhouse.
No.
For a new townhouse. That's what would be a square feet of that?
The square foot of that, give me just a second while I try to read this. Keep it going.
Is that a one bedroom or is that a two bedroom?
It's probably a one bedroom here.
Probably one bedroom?
Yeah.
So what's the price range? 200 to what?
Well, when they say 200, you know how it works with new home sales.
Okay.
Mid 200, and once you say mid 200, you go in there's like 299, 999. You know how that works.
Yeah.
So as far as the square footage, it doesn't say the square footage on here just yet, but it looks like they're gonna start.
So they're
breaking
starting low 200s. So
Yeah.
you're looking at probably realistically mid 200s.
ground. I would say about 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
And this is a townhome. So what's great about a townhome is you will have the garage attached to as well. So that is a plus. Now, let's talk about the housing market and what's going on with the housing market. And I just wanted to mention this as we get into the housing market. As we talked last week, the median price point for a home across the Las Vegas Valley was $402,000 at $214 a square foot with an average days on the market, 6 days. Today, okay,
6
today,
days.
the median price point for a home is $386,888 at $214 a square foot. Average days on the market is 7 days. So we went from 402 to $386,888. So that tells us, are we starting to see a correction, guys? What is going on?
I see it. 3 months. I've been telling everybody 3 months. Inventory increase.
Well,
in a row.
I mean, that's kind of jaded information in a sense because the number of homes that have actually gone on the market hasn't increased that much more at all. So the demand is still coming. So that says to me that maybe there's a segment of people that are just getting sick and tired of writing offers, and they're just going to chill for a while. So in that sense,
well, the way I look at it is that even though that the inventory is still the same, but the numbers are dropping, that means the demand is starting to slow down.
Right.
That's what I see.
yeah, I mean,
I also see, though, too, that if you look at the economy here and everybody says, oh, everybody's back to work, not everybody's back to work, but yet you're still seeing this, even if it's a slow positive increase, I still say, hey, that's something to look at. Because what if this thing really, where everybody really starts to get back to work? And what if the economy's at full strength? We all know it's there, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I think that's a good sign.
I would be interested to see what that number is at the end of the summer. Because I think that's a temporary number.
Now,
personally.
Now, here's the thing. When we started from the beginning of the year, I don't have that number because I don't remember. I think if we were at like 360 or something like that. I could be wrong. I got to pull up the data. But, I mean, we still have increased pretty dramatically, right? More than 3%.
Oh, yeah. We increased, what, 25% since last year. 20% last year.
For year to date, that I don't know off the top of my head.
25%. That's
It was
crazy.
like 20%.
That's pretty high.
Like
but
so,
if we look from the beginning of the year until now, it was actually 9%. The last
9%?
time I pulled the data. That's
we've increased 9% in the past 6 months.
Yeah, correct.
Wow. I just read an article, speaking of which, when I was looking through articles to bring here, in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Is the hottest market in the country right now. And the average home price has risen $100,000 in the past 6 months in Austin, Texas.
Wow.
And you got to understand that their average home there is cheaper than here.
I would just sell it.
Think about that. $100,000 in 6 months, their market has increased. And we're talking like $300,000 homes, not $800,000.
Would you say our average median price home is a lot higher here, even through the crash or even through the mid 2000s?
I think we're midpoint across the country. I think we're starting to tick up a little bit higher because if you look at other cities, I mean, I think their median price point across the nation, I think it's like 280 or like 233. I'm sorry, 280 to 330 or something like that.
So it's a little bit less.
Yeah.
And so are we higher than
them? Yeah,
right
we are higher than them.
I think we're cheap for the West Coast, though.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
You know,
are we West Coast though?
100%. You
West
are.
side.
You're not Midwest, bro.
Well,
you wouldn't be allowed there.
When I say West Coast, I'm thinking.
No, he's talking about California because he's from California.
Washington.
Yeah, but
California. Like I'm talking about, are we like on the coast? I mean, we're still 6-7 hours from.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that so many people from Southern California migrating here is because we're not that.
So we're bringing Californians here, but are we still considered West Coast? I don't know.
Well, whatever you want to claim. Is
I
that
can
what you
tell
want to
you,
claim?
everywhere back east.
Yeah,
I'm
this
gonna
is
just
West
say
Coast,
we're
bro.
Southwest. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's all the same to everywhere else. It's the West Coast, dude.
If you guys want to call live in studio, 702-409-4495. This is like a gang show now. What's going on, guys?
Oh man, I loved it.
Okay. So if we take a look right now, we have a total of 2,103 properties, and this is just only for single-family residents only currently on the market.
How many?
2,103 properties, okay? What can you get? 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,246 square feet. The average list price right now, $485,000 at $222 a square foot. So we still have some properties that are on the market, but I would say that's still a low inventory.
Oh, it's low inventory.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only at a
Super
2.5 month supply across the nation.
That's what I'm saying is I'd be interested in seeing what those numbers you said before at
Yeah.
the end of summer because of that fact, man. I mean, even if demand is less, that's incredibly low.
Yeah.
I mean,
And these numbers that I do provide may be incorrect because I'm just some guy behind the camera that could just be making this stuff up. So just make sure to go do your own research. Disclosure.
disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. All that you do.
So let's get back to this, Dan. You were thinking that supply is still the same, right? We talked about this.
Yep.
But you think consumers are starting to slow down and you think we're going to see a regression here, right? Is that correct?
I don't know if they're going to, I think it's going to be a combination of things where the moratorium is going to figure itself out.
Yeah.
You're going to see that maybe more properties come from that. You're also going to see, in my opinion, that rates are going to go up. It's going to slow the demand, like you said, and slow people coming here from California, places like that, because home affordability is going to start to become an issue if it keeps going that direction. And I think right now we're seeing that, and I think there's only going to be a correction from here or a slowdown from here. What is that going to do? People going back to work. Hopefully at some point they all will. And you look at properties, and we're starting to see 3-4 months now where it's increasing. Even though it's a small increase, that's a sign that things are starting to come back a little bit.
Look at it this way, man. Realistically, with any common sense, how long can a market where people are doing 30, 40, 50, 60 grand over list price, how long can that last before eventually Earth has to come back?
Now,
you know,
the most that we had submitted an offer for was 20,000, but now I recently just got an offer accepted was for 695, which is we did pay, I think 10 grand over, but we got it to appraise for 700,000, which was a good thing. But now the question is, are we starting to see a backslide where buyers are not submitting offers above the appraised value and not waiving the appraisal? Have you seen that, Brett?
No.
Still going strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
I think it's a case
personally,
by
I haven't
case.
seen that yet.
Yeah.
You know, you do have some properties where
But a lot of new homes. So.
Yeah.
some of the owners have fallout. So some people just want to sell, and maybe they'll go 5. There's some properties that know that they're not, the demand for 40 or 50 is not there.
Yeah.
You know, this maybe the year of the home, or there's some work to be done in the home. We all know that if tenants are living in the house, or there's no pictures on the property, then there's issues. So some homes, case by case, you might just say, hey, I'm just going to give you list price, maybe 5 above, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, all right, you know what? I'm not really doing anything to the house. I got tenants living here. They might want a lease back.
Yeah.
You might find something.
Well, that's why the first conversation I have with the listing agent is, do you have any offers? No. Looks like we're not going above list. I mean, you know.
How about they just ignore you?
Welcome to our world, bud. You learn to maneuver with people like that, man. That's the
crazy
art of it.
You know, I've been hearing lately all over the internet, CNN, Fox, that the market is going to tank at the end of the year. It almost seems like every single year, somebody out there is pitching that the market is going to tank.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I have comments right now. The market is going to tank. And you know what? This is where I screwed up. I've always said the market is going to tank, which is it will. But the problem is that we just don't know when.
Yeah, but what capacity of tank are they talking about?
That's a good point, too.
So when people always say that all the time, I always say, fair enough. Fair enough. What makes you think that? And I can usually, with what they say, disprove that within seconds.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about things that aren't reality as far as their reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
I think it's the capacity I go back to, though. Is tanking, we drop, or prices drop, 20%. Is that tanking? Mm-hmm. I don't think that's tanking. I think that's a
a
correction.
good point.
You know, if it goes down 80%.
Is it a recession or a depression?
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm trying to say before, which is how long can something go 20, 30, 40, 50 grand over list?
As long as consumer
Sooner or later,
confidence
things
is
need
there.
to correct. Yeah, things need to correct themselves.
Look, if you have a reason like bad loans in the mid 2000s, and there's some data out there that we don't know about, because we don't know everything, but if there's some data, then hey, you know what? I'm listening. I'll have an ear on it. That doesn't mean I'm going to agree, but I'll have an ear on it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're looking at it going, well, we're going to tank, and I just know it. And why? Because people on YouTube are saying that it's
that's
ready.
the thing.
That,
all three
that
of us
timing.
have been through the real crash that happened the first time around. All three of us have. So we understand the difference behind the three here. So I'm not saying that things aren't escalating and things will get to a certain point where they need to level off. But what's behind it is
Can I just tell you, during the crash, it didn't feel like a crash because I was already broke.
Well, me too.
So it did matter.
Me too, but I know all the people that came to me every day for short sales and talk about how they
I was
lost
like, a
everything.
crash. I'm just trying to get this $80,000 deal done.
I'm just going for Taco Tuesday.
I
man.
know, like I'm good. Let's go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Dollar menu.
I made
I'm
$2
good.
grand. It used to take me 2 weeks to work that at my old job,
That
But
is-
I mean, you got to look at it too. Didn't we just go through a crash?
yeah.
Kind of, right? I mean,
I just saw a thing
But
in the
was
news.
it really a crash?
even if it was artificial, or
Well-
even if it was put in place to have a recession or have people stop
Or
working.
regression? I would say a regression, a little bit. Yeah.
But didn't we go through that already? Like,
I read an article today that said that every month since like June or July of 2012,
Yeah.
every month since then in 2012, home prices have increased.
Yeah.
Every month for the past, 11 years? 10 years, something like that.
So with this coronavirus situation, and
9
this,
years.
and
That's
this was a big deal with this
math.
coronavirus, right?
That's
and
actually-
this just shows you how strong this market is. Think about it. Even though that we had this pandemic, right, that took place, market is still strong. Isn't that crazy how you can actually manipulate the market like that?
you look at Texas, you look at Arizona, you look at here. Why is the market strong there, though? Because people have the ability now to work from home. It's not the traditional jobs they used to have.
No, you're absolutely right. But not only that,
That's a big part of it.
people are looking, right, at every single state. They're looking at the taxes,
Yep.
first of all.
Right there.
Second, the weather condition. Third, you just hit it dead on the nail, right? You can work from home, climate, all that stuff. So now people are migrating, repositioning. So that's the reason why these inner cities like this, right, has a high fluctuations of people, which is driving the demand. But the problem is that how high can that demand go, right? It's going to come to the point where people realize, whoa, everything is so expensive, I can't buy anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rent a home.
Yep.
Then one thing that I want to throw in here that I see now, I've read a couple articles where you have big hedge fund managers that are buying a bunch of portfolio properties. They used to buy 2,000 unit apartment complex. Yeah. They're no longer buying that. They're buying single family
Remember
residence.
Invitation Homes?
No.
Back in the short sale days?
Invitation Homes?
Yeah, Invitation Homes.
I don't even know.
Oh.
Tell
yeah,
us.
I mean, they bought like 300 from us in 2012.
Oh, really?
Dude, yeah, short sales. They just came to the listing agent and said, we'll give you double end commission on it.
You almost look at these investors like they're buying these properties knowing.
They bought, but that's what they did. They came in and they bought all these properties and they rented them all out. And then 2 or 3 years later, when markets increased and they had them all rented out, they sold them off as packages.
Yeah.
Don't you think that there's something behind the scenes that, and this is what I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but hedge fund investors, they're buying on what the market gives them. Meaning, if they're buying unit buildings, it's because the returns on those units at that time,
I can tell you from working with Blackstone personally that they're ahead of the curve.
That's what I'm saying. It's like stocks almost.
When they were already when Blackstone came in, they set up shop. They went to all the listing agents that were producing, said, "We want yours directly." Blah blah blah. 1,200 properties later, they're leaving town when the rest of the country is like, "Oh, the market's starting to turn around," and then the rest of the investors for the world started coming into Las Vegas. But BlackRock was already gone. They already packed up. Blackstone, yeah, sorry, they already got their stuff and they were gone. I mean, they were way ahead of the curve. So whatever they're doing kind of right now is where things are probably going to be going, or they're a good indicator to look at.
I'm sure they got data and inside people.
That's the thing, dude. They have whole teams that spend all day going over numbers.
So they're actually what I'm trying to tell home trendsetter.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you look at what they're doing, they know what they're doing, man. They do their homework. And they in my experience, they've always been ahead of the curve. When everyone else is starting to be like, oh, maybe we should do this, they're already out of town doing their package.
So now the question is, if somebody came to you and said, should I buy a home right now? All right. Explain to them why they should buy a home in today's market right now.
Easy. Okay, you need to have a place to live.
Because I told you so.
No, I would say, look at your scenario. Okay, you tell me what's your scenario. Either way, you need to have a place to live.
Yeah.
Right. So your rent is going to be just as high as your mortgage payment. Mm-hmm. So then the only reason to not buy would be, oh, I feel the market's going to tank or the market's going to go down and I just want to rent. If that's going to be your reason, I understand. I'm not going to sit there and convince you otherwise. But personally, I think anytime that you can afford to buy a home is a good time to buy a home.
Dan, why should somebody buy a home in today's market right now?
I think it depends on your scenario. I mean, if you're a single family residence family, money's cheap, rates are low. You look at where could these prices go if there's no data or no recession that everybody's talking about?
Explain to someone quick about interest rates being low, about why that's such a good thing. Like compare as for a mortgage payment and the kind of house you can buy compared to
home affordability.
Okay, so let's say that what's a great interest rate right now?
I mean, a great interest rate is like 2%.
Okay, so what would an interest
rate? Does that even exist?
No, it doesn't exist. But today's market, historic low still, and that's a good point. Because
so normally the interest rate's at least almost close to double that.
Well,
it has been.
I think it's here's the thing about rates. Everybody thinks rates are going to stick around forever, and they may well be. That might happen. If the Fed keeps buying bonds, and then they don't taper, they're probably going to taper at some point, maybe in my lifetime.
Eventually, they will be forced to raise rates.
But that's the thing. You can get so much more of a home right now because interest rate, that's another reason. It's like, even if you feel that I'm paying over for a house, what you're getting it for that interest rate right now, even if the market went down 10, 15%, if interest rates are higher, you're paying the same mortgage payment, correct?
Yeah, so going back to my point earlier on this show, people are more payment sensitive, like how I told you, where for myself, I focus on the payment, not the price, right? I would rather have a smaller home with a lower payment versus having that nice home that I can afford with a higher payment. So I wanted to make that point there.
And I think to kind of say what you were saying, going back to why somebody would buy a home, right? It's usually the vehicle that helps people get into, if you're a middle-class person, it gets your start in life. And I hate to say that, but you're a person out there buying a home. Yes, you need a place to live. Do you want to overpay? No. But at some point you have to say, well, is there ever a right time to buy? And that's the problem. The problem is you can talk yourself out of it. There's so much data. There's so much information out there. You can literally go online and talk yourself out, especially like the younger generations.
Yeah.
They're just getting fed all this information. The bottom line is, if you want wealth, there's only so many ways of getting wealth if you're not born into a family that has money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And that's one of them is buying a house.
Now, Brett, I want you to convince me why I should not buy a home today.
Why you should not buy a house?
That is correct.
Because you don't want to, you feel the market's going to come down and you simply don't want to buy an asset that's depreciating.
Dan?
Why you shouldn't buy a house.
In today's market.
Or
sorry.
or your lifestyle. You're only going to be in town for a short time. You're uncertain about whatever your situation is. You're younger.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to own because it kind of ties you down in a sense.
Okay, that's a good point. Dan?
I don't know. It just comes down to timing. You know, I have a lot of people that are 30, 40, and 50-year-old, families and maybe just single. I asked you, why didn't you buy? I don't know. Just mentally, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's an obligation to that.
Yeah.
Responsibility.
100%.
That's the new generation, right?
Well, I've had people, though, listen, though, I've had older generations say the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, they're happy about the idea of getting a house, but it's different because maybe you got life happening. You got other things going on. Maybe you have obligations to your mom or something going on where you got some kids to take care of or whatever, and you just, you know what I mean? And it's just, now it's like the timing is there because you were distracted with going to college. You were trying to get your own career going. Maybe you were trying to start a business. There's a lot of factors of why people in a sense, wouldn't get a house.
I mean,
it's not just one underlying thing that says, this is why I'm not going to buy. It's usually, do I want to buy because it's a good thing to do? Yeah, but there's 10 other things in front of me that I still need to accomplish before I get to that point. And that's what I think what happens.
We all need a place to live. You got one or two choices.
Now, there's one thing that I do want to say, and I do apologize for the audience out there. I did say call into studio, but I realized that the phone was dead, so I do apologize. But we do have a bunch of comments here, but we are running a little bit short out of time, so I want to get into the financing with Dan. Let's get into some financing.
So FedPal came out yesterday, and rates, with the news and the data that came out, rates did increase by 1/4 point. I'm telling everybody to lock. There's always the option to float. I'm not telling everybody to float right now because data and inflation is showing that rates are starting to increase. Now, the way that they correct that is they do a Fed's fund rate hike, and they were talking about doing it in 2024. Now they're moving it up to possibly doing it in 2023. Now we're talking about long time from now, right? Yeah. But with this news and this data, all these investors and all this, this data that they put out or this information that comes out, that tells the investors of where to put their money, right? Yeah. And so that's what drives mortgage rates, really. You look at the home sales by price annual average, highest it's ever been across the board. Okay, so all these homes, we already know that. You see all this data. Median price for year over year for a home from last year to this year, 18% higher.
18%.
Yep. You look at, isn't that crazy?
Crazy, man.
That's across the U.S., right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's across the U.S. Existing home sales down 4 months over the last 4 months. And you look at what a normal market would be, it's 6 months supply across the country, right? Yeah. It's not here in Vegas. We're only at a 2.5 month supply for that. Crazy numbers. You look at refinances. Mortgage applications are up, refinances are up, but with this spike, even 1/4 point, refinance applications are down 22%.
Because of the interest rates are a little bit higher.
It's only 1/4 point, but that's how sensitive people are.
Exactly, it impacts the market. Right? That's crazy.
So here's what happens. It gets raised a quarter point, people freak out, and then a month later they decide that really doesn't make a difference, and then go whack at it.
Well, I think it doesn't impact their payment by that much.
It doesn't.
And if you take a look at most of the mortgages now, they probably already have a low interest rate already. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, and then it's crazy because people say it's a half a point.
Yeah,
I say a full point. You know the cost it takes to refinance your house. I don't think it's a wise decision. Saving a half a point and doing it and paying for that loan because you're still going to pay for it in some way. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people are saying go a half a point. So you're seeing a decrease. There's not much savings. There's still opportunity out there. I see a lot of people doing cash out refis. That's not rate sensitive, right? Because they're just, hey, I want the money out of my house.
Gotcha.
You look at rents, okay? Rents are up 5.3%. Rents are going up. And you look at this. This is the first time it's been that high of an increase in April. They just got this data out in 15 years.
In Vegas for rents or across the country?
But I see the same trend happening here in Vegas.
So
rents are going up.
Rents are up 13% from last year.
Explain that to the audience. Why is it going up?
I think the demand is because there's not a lot of properties to rent, and you look at what's going on, and you look at these people the landlords.
Yeah.
They're renting these properties knowing that they can get away with it because there's a certain percentage.
Supply and demand.
That's it. And if you look at the area, it's just like buying a home or getting a comp. If you see the area and that area is renting for a certain amount, then you can raise it to that certain amount. It's the same if you're buying a home. How do you get an appraisal?
We don't have rent control like New York City.
I think the home price is so high above the median household income, which that person, that family cannot afford that home. The rents are still low in Vegas, so they tend to rent, or even across the country. I think that's part of the problem.
I think so too, but I think, you look at the whole picture of rents and people and home affordability, and I want to talk about that. With rents and prices of homes going higher, home affordability is at all-time lows. You can't really afford to live comfortably anymore. And think about it like this. If you're renting a home and all of a sudden they say, hey, we're going to jump your payment $500. That's devastating.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know who would increase it $500.
But I've seen people do it.
You're like, dang, that's
$500.
Well, they just move up to $1 million house.
You have people that are living there and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We're starting to see that there's like, have we seen this shortage for rental properties at any time? Maybe ever? Have you guys ever seen this shortage?
I've never seen shortage for rentals.
So who's going to hold that accountable to these landlords? Like, who's going to hold them accountable?
Well, I can tell you who holds them accountable is the Department of Housing. And this is how I know this, is because every single year you will get a letter from HUD, and it would ask you within your zip code how many square feet, how many bedrooms, and what you are renting it for. And they literally dictate and they tell you that if your rents within this area supersedes what we tell you, we will charge you an 8% on property taxes.
Huh.
That's right.
No kidding.
Yes. And I was going to do an episode on this, but
you should.
But that's how they dictate and have housing control.
Here,
yes. And this is for all my properties, right? So the only way to combat this, because if I go from a 3% cap to an 8%, if I supersede what they are telling me to rent, you need to make sure you are covering that 8%.
Is there a way?
So they're going to take it out on you in taxes then?
Through property taxes.
Oh,
That's how they get you, bro.
So why buy an investment property, right? Just playing.
Well,
I just joking.
Because you can make some money on investment properties.
Because he's making money, dude.
Yeah.
Chuck is investing things that don't make money.
All right, let's go back then.
No, it's all good. So I mean, and then you look at let's just look at like the home affordability thing.
Yeah.
We look at the median median DTI, and I'm going to talk about this. Home prices grew faster than incomes.
DTI.
Yeah, DTI.
Explain DTI real quick.
Well, you go ahead and explain it because I know you.
Debt to income ratio.
Yeah.
There you go.
So median home prices grew faster than incomes last year. This is what they're stating. Interest rates also increased. So affordability to return roughly in 2021, there's got to be two scenarios. Scenario number one is interest rates would need to reach 3.4%, assuming home prices and incomes grow at the same rate. Also, home prices would need to grow 2 percentage points more than incomes in the event that home prices grow faster than incomes. So what I'm saying is this. there's got to be a lot of correction for home affordability to come back. I'm starting to see that home affordability is becoming a problem. And if rates go up, I think home affordability, if these two things don't happen, is going to become a serious problem. Because how many people are really going to be able to afford we're talking about rents going up. How many people are going to be able to afford their mortgage? If you have, let's say you got somebody that has a rate now of 4% and you're buying a $500,000 to $600,000 home, that's a crazy payment on that, right? I mean, you think about it, that could be another $200 or $300 on the payment. Now your home affordability is dropping.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing one factor.
What's that?
We live in a valley. Sooner or later, that valley is going to get filled.
You think so?
No, so
not in our lifetime, though.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
every valley around here gets filled sooner or later.
There's so much land up north.
You want to know something, Dan?
I'm just telling you, man.
Dan's actually right, because you figure, I mean, from one end to the other end of the valley, it's only 30 miles. It's not that big. But then when you fly over the valley on a plane,
there's a lot of land.
There's a lot of land.
You ever fly over L.A.? You know how long that takes you? You know how much land L.A. takes up?
No.
A lot of land, dude. Chicago, same thing.
But all I'm saying is that you're probably right on this, Dan, because we went from a population of about 2.3 million. Now we're about to hit 3 million on the population.
Are we really?
Yes.
It's growing.
Yeah, and it's growing pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
Whew.
I got nothing else on anything. So
I mean, you could be
I just think
right.
home affordability is something to pay attention to.
I just think that's a huge factor. It's like New York City or San Francisco. That's not affordable, yet they have no problem.
Well, but think about it like this.
Yeah.
Where was the first places people left when we had the pandemic? They couldn't take it, probably, right? Those more.
I just read an article on how the San Francisco condo market is coming back stronger than ever.
Really?
And their average condo is like a 2-bedroom, 1,100 square feet, and its average price is like 1.4. And yet they're selling them like hotcakes, and that's 1.4 million for a condo.
Now, there's one thing that I can tell you from experience is that Las Vegas, our primary sector, is tourism.
Yep.
Should something happen crazy, like a recession, whatever it is, right? Vegas will be one of the hardest hitting areas. I can guarantee
100%.
But we always are.
Yeah.
I think it's because we're a transient town, you know?
Well, that's my point.
People are in and out all the time.
What I'm trying to explain to you guys is that, yeah, that's great. We're going up fast, right? But we can really plummet pretty quickly.
100% we could. I mean, we've all lived through the last crash. We all know of what can happen.
Yeah, but do you think that people are kind of scorned on the situation that, just like when you look at people losing their homes when they happen? Remember when people were going through like short sales and they had to go through that process? They're like, I'm not putting myself in that position again.
Yeah.
What would they want to go back to those more expensive places to live? And put themselves in a position where I'm not saying they're living paycheck to paycheck, but with those higher mortgages,
I think
you get accustomed to living in Vegas and you got those lower payments and you got the lower cost of living. Why the hell would I want to move back somewhere else that's higher cost?
No, you're absolutely right.
Legit point.
Now, Dan, let's talk about your radio show. We're going to plug in Dan's radio show. Dan has a radio show, I think, every Tuesdays and Saturdays or something like that?
Tuesdays and Saturdays,
Let's plug that show real quick.
I mean, it's just my YouTube channel. I mean, it's just something I do every Tuesday and Saturday.
It's a podcast, so I want you guys to support Dan. I want you guys to check that out. If you guys need any type of financing, I'm going to have a link in the description below to get your financing started. And Brett Jenny's here, right? If you're into Bitcoin,
he's the man, dude.
He's the man. If you are into having fun, shopping for a home, very aggressive, he's your guy.
I want to say, can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
Banks are starting to actually take, where we had a problem sourcing cryptocurrency, banks are going to start opening up, in my opinion.
I know they are.
A couple of banks that what they're going to do is if you're taking money from crypto, they're going to start taking it where if it goes into your bank account, normally you have to source that money. Yeah. They're going to start saying it's okay to take the money from crypto, like Coinbase, and they're going to be okay with it.
Look into DeFi, decentralized financing.
So
I'm telling you, you can borrow against your crypto. It's
crazy.
Yep. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is right. The LV Home Experts Radio Show, where we talk about real estate and financing. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok. If you guys haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Hit that notification button so that way you guys can get updated with new properties. Until next time, I'm Krulsawat with Simply Vegas, and have a great day.